Hello, Dr. J and fellow classmates. My name is Mickey Fisher, and I'd like to discuss the review that I wrote for this week's article analysis. First off, the title of the article that I selected is Nonverbal Communication in College English Classroom Teaching. This was written by Huang. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce that too bad. First off, the material discussed within the article includes definitions of nonverbal communication, the classification and significance of it, the overall need of this within the college level English classes, and it wrapped up with the practical application of this lesson to the classroom teaching. I'll begin with kind of a brief. One of the definitions provided within the article is nonverbal communication involves all those nonverbal stimuli in a communication setting that are generated by both the source and his or her use of the environment and that have potential message value for the source of receiver. I'll start off by saying that my topic of interest for this course is communication. So this article being about the importance of nonverbal communication was rather fitting. An interesting quote that I found within the article was written over a couple thousand years ago. It is, eyes are more accurate witnesses than ears. So eyes are more accurate witnesses than ears. That's pretty much stating that people can control their words, but not necessarily their bodily responses and actions, such as blushing. Another quote from the article says, research indicates that we will believe nonverbal messages instead of verbal ones when the two contradict one another. So that'd be if I were to ask someone if they were angry, and they replied with no, but they replied while kind of clenching their jaw and having a scowl. So you can assume that they are in fact angry, and people, as research has proven, people will believe nonverbal cues rather than verbal. So this is just kind of pushing the importance of nonverbal communication and why it should be taught within our English programs at college level. The one thing that I did not agree with within this article is I don't think it should just be in college level courses, English courses. I think this should start earlier, maybe even middle school, but definitely high school. Something like this is really important because not everyone goes to college. You know, why should only the select few that do go to college be, exposed to this kind of material? I feel this should be pretty universal. Additionally, throughout this article, it discusses how nonverbal communication is definitely more important in an intercultural context. So if you were to go to a different country where they may not speak your language, the same language, nonverbal cues and nonverbal signs are much more important there and much more useful to communicate a message. So the most important aspects of this article include the importance of nonverbal communication compared to verbal communication, how nonverbal communication is needed in order to successfully teach students, let alone keep them interested, because it's actually been proven that by incorporating nonverbal communication, things are a little more interesting in the classroom. The correlation between nonverbal communication skills and intercultural communication, like I just mentioned, and the different types of nonverbal communication behaviors. As I mentioned before, intercultural communication is more dependent on nonverbal communication. So why is this all important? Why was this article beneficial at all? And how could it be beneficial to me or any manager out there? In my opinion, I think nonverbal communication, having good nonverbal communication skills is crucial to know if you're in a management position. In order to be a good manager, you got to be a great communicator. I mean, you can't just be a good talker. You got to be able to have the right nonverbals as well. Another quote from the article was, nonverbal communication can express explicit meanings, something you can't really just get from verbal communication. So I think this is beneficial to a manager, not only in the sense of being able to communicate freely and providing a kind of easy, free environment to your subordinates, because you want to present yourself as accessible. People want to approach you, approachable. So by doing this and having good nonverbals, you'll be more open, and people will be more likely to come speak to you, which is a great thing, especially in a management position. And like I had mentioned with the intercultural communication, if you were a manager of a larger international company, you would find yourself communicating with people from other cultures on a regular basis. Understanding nonverbal communication will allow for a more successful experience and better relations, of course. So, and just to wrap it up, I feel this article could be beneficial for anyone to read, anyone who's really looking to especially find a management position. Reading about good eye contact, good posture, and spatial language, all this stuff could definitely be useful to anyone. That about wraps up why I feel this particular article was interesting and beneficial to this course. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or hit